Tonight, the Prime Minister condemns an attack in Glasgow's largest mosque. We hear from a community fearful and under attack as racial tensions continue to dominate the political debate.
It comes from political rhetoric out there. It comes from this narrative of migrants and Muslims not belonging in Scotland.
Also making the headlines, 21 years for an abusive husband who stabbed his wife 9 times because he suspected her of having an affair. In sport, we look ahead to this weekend's League Cup semi-finals between Celtic and Rangers and Motherwell and St Mirren.
And I'm here in Drumchapel, where thousands are expected to gather for a Halloween howler in this haunted house.
I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. We are fearful and under attack. That's the message from Scotland's largest Muslim community in the wake of racist graffiti being sprayed on Glasgow Central Mosque. The Prime Minister has written to the mosque offering his support and condemning the incident, which happened earlier this week. Rising racial tension continues to dominate the political debate. In Inverness, there are calls for clarity over plans to rehome asylum seekers in the city's army barracks. Vanessa Taff reports.
Worshippers have been attending Friday prayers here for generations. It's not the first time, and they fear it won't be the last, that they'll come together after a racist attack.
Omar, very good to see you. Nice to meet you. One of our stalwarts in the community.
This meeting between the mosque and the UK government a show of solidarity, including a letter from the Prime Minister offering his support after the words "Scots First" were spray painted on the building.
It comes from political rhetoric out there. It comes from this narrative of migrants and Muslims not belonging in Scotland. And really the community is quite fearful now. The community is really feeling under attack. When you look at the scale of and the number of these incidents that have happened across the country and the pattern that shows.
It comes against a backdrop of increasing racial tensions across the country.
Legitimate concerns about immigration, and people contact me about them all the time, have nothing to do with overt racism and anti-Muslim hatred that we've seen over the last few weeks and months in this country. Glasgow Central Mosque is a prime example of how it's given so much to the wider community.
In the Highlands, it's going to cost £1 million to get this former military barracks ready to move asylum seekers in. There are demands for clarity from the Home Office about what that'll mean for locals. Record numbers of people are arriving in the UK, and the budget for housing them has risen to over £15 billion.
Why can you not get a control on this?
Well, we inherited a broken system, and we inherited a situation where criminal gangs on the continent are paid large amounts of money.
Bust the gangs was the Prime Minister's manifesto statement.
Those gangs had a 6-year start on a Labour government that was elected in July of 2024. But whether it is the establishment of Border Command, whether it is the new legislation that will be giving counter-terrorism-like powers to the police, we believe that we're taking action that will address those questions.
But this community want answers about their safety, and those are a lot harder to guarantee. Vanessa Taff, STV News in Glasgow.
An abusive husband who stabbed his wife 9 times because he suspected her of having an affair has today been sentenced to at least 21 years in prison. Monpetty Dodo Isaacs attacked Ketusfeli Naso Isaacs at their home in North Berwick on New Year's Day 2024. The 39-year-old had attempted to have his conviction reduced to culpable homicide through the defence of provocation by sexual infidelity, a legal measure which could soon be abolished. Louise Mickey's report contains some distressing details.
Ketusfeli Naso Isaacs was a mother to 3 young children, someone who her family described as a special person who displayed unwavering kindness. Today, her husband, Monpetty Dodo Isaacs, was sentenced to life in prison for a minimum of 21 years for her murder at their home in North Berwick.
Police officers came to the house. Notwithstanding the brave efforts of those first on the scene, nothing could be done to save her. Naso could not have survived this terrible attack. She died. You murdered her.
Isaacs, who appeared in court today via video link, had suspected his wife of having an affair with a colleague. The couple, who both worked in the care sector, had moved to the UK from Botswana. In the early hours of New Year's Day 2024, after a night of drinking, Isaacs found a number of messages between his wife and the other man. He posted a rant on Facebook before stabbing Nazo to the neck and head 9 times in their bedroom.
This was a brutal and violent attack using a knife against your wife, who was utterly defenceless. You murdered her in her own home. This was a despicable act.
Isaac's defence team argued that he had diminished responsibility at the time of the killing because of his mental state. But in a slightly less common defence, they asked the jury to find him guilty of the lesser crime of culpable homicide due to provocation through sexual infidelity. The jury did not accept that explanation, and Isaacs may well end up one of the last to attempt to use it. The Scottish Law Commission has recommended it is abolished. Critics say it's a sexist relic of a bygone era.
It's been part of Scots law for a very long time, possibly since 1510. That was suggested in a relatively recent case. It has been used quite widely across the world as homicide laws have been reformed. Most of the places that have looked at a sexual infidelity arm have decided that it's not appropriate in a 21st century society.
Even some defence lawyers say the law needs to change.
Obviously there can be many different types of provocation, some more provocative than this, but they don't result in the crime being reduced from murder to culpable homicide. And the effect might be the difference between 18 years in prison and 5 years in prison.
It's now down to the Scottish Government to take the next step in making such a change. Naso Isaac's cousin today told STV News that she will forever be remembered as a mother who sacrificed a lot for her children and as someone who lit up every room she walked into. Lewis Mickey, STV News at the High Court in Edinburgh.
The process of removing the royal titles from Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is underway. Buckingham Palace has removed his name from the official roll of the peerage, meaning his role as the Duke of York no longer exists. The King's brother continues to deny allegations he sexually abused a teenage girl trafficked by the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Well, our political correspondent Ewan Petrie is here. So Ewan, what's the significance of this?
Well, this is undoubtedly a huge moment for the royal family. You have to go back to the First World War for the last time anything like this happened. Pressure had been mounting on them to take action, with the allegations around Andrew overshadowing their other activities. Then last night, Buckingham Palace released this pretty brutal statement where the King announced he had begun the formal process of removing his brother's titles and honours. What does that mean? Well, no longer will he be called Prince. His title, Duke of York, that is gone. He gave that up earlier this month. The Earl of Inverness, that too is gone. His Royal Highness, that is gone. So from now on, he will simply be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. This is a complete stripping of the royal connections and privileges he had left. A spectacular fall from grace. He does, however, remain 8th in line to the throne. Downing Street says it has no plans to change that. And all this came about because of his friendship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The drip of accusations has continued in recent weeks. Accusations he denies, but last night the palace said that these censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him.
And Ewan, what reaction has there been to this?
Well, the royal family is hoping that this will draw a line under the whole affair. That does seem rather optimistic, though. The family of Andrew's main accuser, Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide earlier this year, said an ordinary American girl had brought down a British prince. While this move is welcome, they say they want an investigation. Andrew needs to be behind bars, period. That is what they have said. Now, Andrew has effectively been evicted from the Royal Lodge in Windsor and banished to the Sandringham estate, where the royals traditionally spend the festive season. If he moves there in time, Christmas could be a very awkward family affair this year. John.
Well, indeed. Ewan, thank you. House fires in Scotland are at a record low, but more than 1/4 of affected houses didn't have a smoke alarm fitted. Firefighters were called to just over 4,100 last year. The fire service says the number without alarms is concerning and called on households to check their devices are fitted correctly. Glasgow City Council has received almost 2,500 legal threats over failures to meet homelessness obligations. Labour councillors say the threats have been issued as the council has failed to provide temporary accommodation and shows a system at breaking point. The City Council says the reviews come as demand for homelessness support has grown significantly. There are 2 weeks left to apply to become a volunteer at next year's Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Organisers say tens of thousands have already submitted applications, with 3,000 volunteers set to be involved in running the Games next summer. A Scot who helped save his brother's life by donating his kidney has told how the decision was a no-brainer. Harry Wilson from West Lothian made the decision after his brother Gordon was diagnosed with kidney disease. It comes on the 65th anniversary of the first successful kidney transplant in the UK, which was performed in Edinburgh between twin brothers in the same year that Harry was born. Vanessa Kennedy has more.
Back in 2019, Gordon was having problems with inflammation in his eyes. After being referred for blood tests, doctors discovered he actually had deterioration of his kidneys. As the disease got worse, he required daily dialysis treatment, which was administered at home. Gordon was told he would need a kidney transplant, but that there was a 3-year waiting list.
When he actually says you're going to need the transplant, I couldn't really take it in and I sat in my car for a wee while, and then I phoned Harry and I just explained to him, and he just said right away, well, get a number for me to phone. I need to get tested, you can have my kidney.
So it was a no-brainer. He needed a kidney. I had 2 that was working, so why would you know?
Before Harry donated a kidney to his brother, the medical team had some important questions to ask.
Is your brother getting paid for giving you this kidney? And Gordon says, I might buy him a pint. And when he asked me the same question, my answer was exactly the same. He might buy me a pint. I'm still waiting on the pint.
The surgery was a success and both brothers were only in hospital for a few days, with only minor post-operative issues.
The only problem we had, Harry had an infection once he got home, and he had to go back in for a few days to get the infection cleared up. But I was all right. So
he was fine. He was fine.
And the hospital where this operation took place is the same one where this pioneering surgery was first performed in the UK exactly 65 years ago. Twin brothers Lewis and Martin Abbott were operated on by Sir Michael Woodruff and his team at the Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, marking a major milestone in medical history.
We've tried to build on that legacy. We now undertake around about 50 live donor operations a year in NHS Lothian, and around about 40% of our kidney transplant programme is now delivered through living kidney donation and transplantation. So that starting point was something we all remember and has been something we've tried to build on over many decades.
Just a few months after the successful surgery, Gordon has been able to return to work. Now, closer than ever, the brothers are encouraging more people to become an organ donor so they too could save a life. Vanessa Kennedy, STV News.
Glasgow and Clyde's Rape Crisis Centre has launched a manifesto ahead of next year's Holyrood election, calling on political parties to strengthen support for survivors amid a surge in demand. The centre says use of the service continues to grow, with more than 3,000 survivors receiving support across the last year. They're urging parties to provide long-term funding and stronger access to justice. A Scottish woman who was killed in Los Angeles has been remembered as one of a kind at her funeral. Jane Bunyan was laid to rest in the Isle of Arran earlier. The 37-year-old's body had been repatriated from California. The man understood to have been her husband has been arrested and charged with her murder. Police say drug drivers are more likely to be caught with the rollout of roadside testing kits. The devices, dubbed drugalyzers, were introduced for specialist officers across Scotland in 2019. But under a new trial, all community officers in East Ayrshire will now carry the kits. It comes after a successful 6-month pilot in Shetland. Tara Fitzpatrick reports.
It's an offence now almost as common as drink driving. But getting behind the wheel while under the influence of drugs is about to become easier for police to detect.
The reason I pulled you over today is I can smell cannabis emanating from the vehicle. And step over to the side of the road.
All local police in East Ayrshire will now carry these quick-fire drug kits, which can detect cannabis and cocaine in the system with the same immediacy as tests for alcohol.
I think when we listen to our communities, road safety is always a priority. What you have down in East Ayrshire is a demographic, the arterial routes going from north to south, A77, A76, 71, so we've got a mixture of arterial routes here, but we've also got the smaller roads that service the towns and villages. I think it'll give us the opportunity to see where we are in Scotland. You know, we've seen the rise nationally, so that'll give us an opportunity to review the pilot down the line. What I would get out to people is if they are intent in taking drugs and then driving, there's a high chance they're going to get caught, and the new training for all our officers, or the officers we have here, is vital to ultimately do that.
New drug driving laws came into force across the country in 2019, introducing a near zero tolerance on illegal substances and limits for prescription drugs. Across Scotland, offences for drug driving have increased by 60% in the past 3 years, with almost 3,000 recorded in 2024, compared with under 2,000 in 2022.
The kit works similar to a COVID test. A swab is taken here and then a near instant line will appear indicating a positive result. If drugs are found in the system, a person can then be arrested and taken to the police station for a blood sample. That's then sent to a lab where evidence can be gathered to build a case for court.
No. Police Scotland say the tests are key to tackling dangerous driving, but warnings have come to ensure they're used fairly. The Scottish Drugs Forum said the kits may detect trace levels long after any impairment has passed, meaning people risk penalties even if they pose no danger. It's called for roadside testing to be accompanied by a system of referrals for treatment.
No, you wouldn't be impaired, so you wouldn't risk it, and that's the key for any individual who thinks that. It's the same with drink and it's the same with drugs. If you think you're impaired, you do not go near the road.
East Ayrshire along with North Aberdeenshire are involved in the pilot, following a trial in Shetland earlier this year. As the trend of drug driving continues to rise, these kits could be rolled out to local officers nationwide. Tara Fitzpatrick, STV News, Kilmarnock.
Raman's here with the Sport Cup semi-final weekend ahead. Nearly get that wrong, but Cup semi-final weekend ahead. And that old firm game looks a belter.
Absolutely. John, you know, somebody said to me last week, Martin O'Neill returning to Celtic 20 years on against a rookie manager in this context in a few days' time, you would have said you're not quite right. Well, that's going to be one of the semi-final fixtures on Sunday. Motherwell against St Mirren on Saturday, and that's where we kick off our sport tonight.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening. Yes, ahead of Sunday's League Cup semi-final between Celtic and Rangers. See the effect this man has on me. Martin O'Neill says he's more nervous now than when he first experienced this fixture 20 years ago and admits he'd settle for a lousy 1-0 win. It's the first time Rangers head coach Danny Rule experienced this fixture. He says he's not focusing on O'Neill's comments earlier this week when the Northern Irishman said Rangers are no threat in the Premiership. Two managers with an age difference of 37 preparing to go head-to-head for the first time on Sunday.
Before I got this job, a lot of good things about the manager. I think a lot of the players at Sheffield Wednesday were very complimentary about him. So he will have gone in there now. He's won. That was a big win for them there at Easter Road.
Yeah, it feels big respect to such a coaching career. I think this is always great as a manager when you work so long in this business and you are successful. I think this is great.
That's the niceties out of the way. Just before getting the call to become Celtic interim manager,
good afternoon, everybody.
Martin O'Neill said this about Rangers.
Rangers are no threat whatsoever. They are so far adrift, it's untrue.
Today, O'Neill put those comments in more context.
Well, so far adrift in the league, I was talking about. Yeah, well, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah. Just, I know I've been used to having my words tangled around here.
For me, it's always important to focus on myself. I'm not the coach to look too much to other teams because we have to do a lot of works at the moment. We have to do a lot of things right here. My focus is on my team. What other coaches said around is for me not so important.
Last season, Rangers defeated Celtic home and away. Rule is relishing his first Old Firm derby.
I expect a big one on Sunday. I think this is why we love this game. To be part of such a game, it's all or nothing. You win, you come in the final, you lose, you're out. I think everything is on for a great game.
O'Neill's first Old Firm derby in 2000 was a memorable one.
He's done it again!
Celtic romped to a 6-2 victory and went on to win the treble that season.
Replicating that might be extremely difficult. That's like scoring 6 goals, against that side. I'd settle for a really lousy 1-0 victory.
Celtic are the holders. Rangers are desperate to reclaim the League Cup. It's all set up nicely for Sunday's showdown. Now to tomorrow's League Cup semi-final, and Stephen Robinson says his St Mirren side can complete their transformation into a force in Scottish football by reaching the League Cup final. They face Motherwell at Hampden tomorrow, and Fir Park boss Jen Bertho-Askew says they will be going all in to give themselves a shot at the first piece of silverware of the season. Here's Jamie Borthwick.
They're a team that's gotten used to punching above their weight. Can St Mirren land another knockout blow and book their place in the League Cup final?
I believe this group of players have given the fans so much. They've raised the profile of this football club. They've defied the odds. We've changed the whole perception of this football club as a top 6 football club. And I'd like them just to finish that off, to achieve something that could be memorable. To do that, you have to gain this first hurdle and get over the semi-final to give yourself that opportunity.
Motherwell have won plaudits for their style this season. Now comes the chance to show the substance behind their ambitious attacking play.
We're all here to win and to win trophies, and that's the first opportunity this season. So we're going to go all in to see if we can make that. And the first step is to get us to the final. Obviously we're all hopeful for that. I think we are that in general. Every season.
These sides' last 2 meetings have ended in draws, with another tight match expected at Hampden.
Anytime I've played St Mirren, they'll cause you problems. I think anyone's a clear favourite or either way. There's a reason for optimism for both of them, hopefully more for us.
It's been a long time coming. I think I've always made it to the stage just before. I've made it quite regular there, and under a bit of heartbreak. So I think we've always had a bit of regret in how we've performed in the cups. We feel we've been capable of a good cup run and getting to these stages of a cup. And as I said, this is something we haven't ticked off, and we have. And it's up to us now to make sure that we're back there again next month.
Miguel Freckleton is a major doubt for St Mirren, while Motherwell's Stephen O'Donnell is battling to be fit. Both teams will have more than 8,000 fans at Hampden, every one of them desperate to book a return trip in December. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Well, away from the League Cup semi-finals, Hearts have the chance to stretch their lead over Celtic at the top of the Premiership to 9 points when they face Falkirk at Tynecastle tomorrow. That's one of 3 fixtures in the top flight. Falkirk and Kilmarnock will be looking to bounce back after losing in midweek, as will Livingston and Hibernian. They also lost their previous fixtures and go head-to-head at Almondvale. On to rugby, and ahead of winning his 50th cap for Scotland tomorrow, Duhan van der Merwe says winning the Six Nations is the biggest goal remaining in his international career. Van der Merwe is Scotland's all-time top try scorer, but as he reaches his cap milestone, he says team accolades are more important than personal ones.
Probably want to look forward to this Autumn Nations and go and win all 4 games. Looking at the Six Nations, have a real go at that. We've been talking about that over the last couple of years, and hopefully the day I retire I'll be able to say I've won the Six Nations.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
That, folks, is all of your sport for me tonight. Looking forward to the League Cup semi-finals. Whatever you're up to, have a good one. John, League Cup semi-finals. What are you up to?
High art and culture, I think, Raman.
Sleeping after eating barley sugars.
Thank you for that, Raman. Thank you. Well, of course, it's Halloween.
Yep.
Sean, you love the old Halloween, although not so much today. You get a bit of a scare here.
I mean, you know this is more Philip's bag. He's been banging on about Halloween since about March, but I've told him he's been well warned. As of tomorrow, it's the start of Christmas. I love that. But he did. He jumped out at me earlier on today. Now, this is the second year in a row this has happened. He's hidden behind the set. He's jumped out on me, and yeah, I've ended up getting quite a fright. You can find out more on our social media. Do you know what? I was in here earlier on and I have to check every nook and cranny. Hopefully we wouldn't do it live on air and jump out on us. But yes, a little bit of a scare. We're going to get him back next year, hopefully. A few showers out there just now if you're heading out, guys, but hopefully they'll pass through fairly quickly. Let's have a look.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, a pretty good evening for our little geysers, apart from just a few rogue showers. For many of us, it's dry with clear spells, and it will turn a little bit chilly maybe in some spots later on the night. But witches, if you're heading out in the broomsticks, there'll still be a bit of turbulence around, a good old breeze around coastal areas and across the islands as well, and a few soggy moggies by the morning on those broomsticks as well, because even though it will be dry for the geysers this evening, overnight tonight we'll see lots of rain coming in, and look at that tomorrow morning, not looking great. For most of us, it's a wet start to the day early on, but I've got a much better story for you in the afternoon, because the bulk of that rain, that clears away, and for most of us it becomes much drier, good spells of sunshine. We still hang on to that keen westerly breeze, especially around the west coast and across the islands. Now, even though the weather does get better, we will see still a scattering of showers. Coll, Tiree, Gia, Colonsay, Mull, and into mainland Argyll and Bute. We've got a good scattering of showers still around at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. 1 or 2 heavy ones as well. Probably in for Clyde, still seeing a few showers, but hopefully by the middle of the afternoon, the bulk of the rain, the showers will have cleared away from Lanarkshire, Ayrshire as well. So here, a lot of dry, sunny weather to end the day. So not too great to start with tomorrow, but if you've got afternoon plans, it should be a lot better, drier and brighter, especially further south. On Sunday, still windy, especially around the west coast, and a good scattering of showers, fewer showers in the east. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, or frightfully, how's this for a spectacular Halloween display? We've joined the thousands set to hop on their broomsticks and head out to Drumchapel's very own House of Horror. The pumpkins are lit up and our reporter Raheem Cham is ready for a frightful time. Raheem, what's the atmosphere like over there?
John, it's literally an electrifying atmosphere out here in Drumchapel, where this family home has been completely transformed into a haunted house. Now, we have all our favorite Halloween spooky characters out here, from Pennywise to Frankenstein, you know, those ones that you loved and feared at the same time. Now, kids are out here soaking in this spectacular horror and a light show. And the mastermind behind all of this is right here with us. Sandra Lee Miles, thank you very much for joining us. This is a family tradition that has been going on for years.
Yep, it is that. My dad started these displays a lot of years ago, and since my dad's health started to fail, I took the displays over for him, but on a much bigger scale. So every year when we do this, it's really just, it's a nod to my dad especially, and it's just the community just come to look forward to and expect that the corner house will get lit up for every occasion. So it's a pleasure to do it actually, and it's a pleasure when you see the kids coming in and enjoying it the way they do.
But you're also doing this for a charitable cause.
It is, yep. So this year we're chosen charity is Men Matter Scotland. It's an absolutely outstanding charity. It focuses on mental health and suicide. They are appealing just now for fundraising for a minibus, which will help more service users. It will reach out to more people in need, which is that's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I've pulled this display together. So it's for Men Matter Scotland.
But the real stars of the show are right here with us, who are dressed to thrill. How are you guys doing over here? Good! Wait, who are you dressed as?
A dead pirate.
Oh my God! How about you?
A skeleton. A skeleton.
Okay. How about you over here?
A cat.
A cat. Okay. We also have some. Okay. How about you?
Ghostface.
Ghostface. We'll have someone here as well.
I'm a cat.
Okay, now we have a Halloween special in absolutely full swing. Decorations and the celebrations are in full swing. So we're wishing everybody a spooktacular.
Happy Halloween!
Kids clearly enjoying themselves there. From all of us here, thank you for watching. Have a happy Halloween and a great weekend.